Greetings and welcome back to Medieval Engineers. So there it is, finally finished the Clocktower, and I've had a lot of work on this thing because it's basically the very first structure that I built. So I immediately had a very hard learning experience. So you might look there in the distance, I have a whole lot of buildings there, the different stages of construction. So I basically build it up piece by piece, and whenever I get to a certain stage where I think that I made some progress, I just copy the whole thing and place it down and then continue, so that when something collapsed that I could go back to the older version. And yes, a lot of things collapsed because, well, structural integrity is not that, how would I say it, not that predictable as the whole machinery thing. So yes, let's go and take a look inside. And let's just walk around. So yeah, there's a lot of arches and all of that stuff. There's a few reasons for this. So first of all, it was difficult to make a building that is very tall. And well, I think that using arches allows you to build a little bit higher and a little bit stabler. So wait, let's go take another look. So when you turn structural integrity on, you can see that, for example, here this is the weak spot. So we got a few walls here, but it's orange. It's still not prone to collapse. There could still be a few more layers on top of this, but I decided it was pretty much enough because, well, I didn't want to spend too much time on all of this. But oh yes, and as you can see in the distance, all the green stuff light up. We got a whole frame drop, so let's turn it back off. Anyway, let's go and take a look. So as you can see, everything works properly. The patch 2.005 was just released like an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So yeah, I kind of had to cross my fingers and hope that the patch didn't change anything significant, and luckily it didn't. So I loaded up the game and the tower was still standing and everything is still working. And especially a change they did to the catch blocks apparently did not have any effect on my machine, so I'm very glad of that. Otherwise I would have had to do everything again, and I must say it was quite a pain to try and align everything here. So at first I thought it was going to be, well, I didn't think it was going to be easy. I think it was going to be a little easier. So one issue is, for example, that this rotor here is always aligned to one block. So you can't really say, okay, I'll move the rotor 1 or 2 small blocks this way or this way. So I kind of was stuck with the position of the rotor. So I had about 3 positions where I could put it. Right here, 1, 2, 3, and I chose this one because it seemed to be the best position. That gave me a lot more movement room on what to do. And this was actually the second tower that I planned on making. The first one was a little bit smaller actually, because I didn't want to build too big, but apparently it was too small, and even though it was smaller, it did collapse because I had roofs, and so I decided not to make any roofs at all, because apparently they don't really react all that friendly to buildings. So I got rid of all the roofs and went for something a bit more utilitarian perhaps, or a bit more of a castle look. But I did make a lot of arches, a lot of windows, so that you can actually see inside, because the game doesn't actually have any light sources at the moment. Anyway, let's take a look at the machine here, so you can see everything run. I really wanted to make sure of that, and that you could look down and see everything, so it had to be fairly open, and all of that worked out pretty nice. And I also made sure that you can walk to different places. So over here, you can look straight up at the clock. I did a bit of pixel art stuff here to try and make something that looks like a clock. So here you got the different, what are supposed to be numbers. Well, no, it's actually not supposed to be numbers, just well, yeah, just lines on the whole clock. But yeah, it's difficult to make lines with a few pixels, so I made it like this. And here you can go down. So this is one floor under, and here you got a few battlements to walk upon, to look around and do all sort of stuff, or nothing at all, just looking around. And I got the same thing over here. And there's one in the back. I think I already went on that one. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that you could go to different places, although I initially wanted to make it so that you could go way up top on the roof, but I didn't really find any decent way to make sure that there were stairs to reach that level. So yes, if you use, for example, if you use stone stairs, either the straight ones or the ones that go in a curve, then, well, they tend to break everything under it, unless it's very well supported, but I didn't really have a lot of room for support, seeing as we have the whole machine back there, so I kind of just scratched that whole thing, because, well, I think it would have been possible to get some sort of stairs going, perhaps some wooden stairs on this side, but still, it was, it's not gonna be for today. Maybe it's gonna be something I will look on later on. So yeah, I probably had a lot of stuff that I wanted to tell, but I forgot most of it, I think. I just had a lot of work to put into this thing. And yeah, it's been about 3 days, I think, since the last video, the one about the optimizations that I made, and I was sort of planning on getting this tower out yesterday, but it ended up being today. Because construction is difficult. Oh yes, and you'll be able to find this thing on the Steam Workshop, the whole thing. So the nice thing with one of the last patches is that you can make blueprints of whole buildings, and another nice thing with the very newest patch is that you can actually rotate everything now. So let's see, here it's Iron's Clocktower version 1. Just double click it, Ctrl V. And there you can see this is the normal version, and when you will paste it, the clock is turned off, so you have to go and turn it on. So let's actually rotate it. So you can go to all 4 directions, which is great, because otherwise I would have had to make 4 different clocks. Now you luckily can just turn it around. So let's turn one this way. And you just place it down, make sure that the floor is somewhat even. And then you go in, very slowly apparently, and well, yeah, here you're gonna have to fly a bit and turn this thing on and hope that nothing goes wrong. Normally everything should work from the moment you turn it on. Well, it might take a little while for all the gears to touch each other so that everything starts turning, but in the end everything should work properly. And if it doesn't, do let me know. And if you have any tips about, perhaps, yes, I'd certainly like some tips about building. So for example, building something larger than this, I know how the structural integrity works for the most part. However, there were some specifications to this building that were required. For example, this had to be a very much open room of 4 by 4 by 4, so that's not very easy to make, so I went with a whole lot of arches up on top to make things a little lighter. But yeah, it was quite a challenge, the whole thing. Either way, I guess I'll be ending the episode with this, seeing as you will be able to get it from the Steam Workshop anyway and look at all the details that you want to. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.